Bases dropped on Soccer's morning show. Soccer down here, John here, you there. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Tuesday. So here's the rundown for the morning. If there's anything else left on the plate, left in your brain that you didn't get out yesterday from the discussions, go for it. That's what we're here for. Just make sure that it's all out. I don't want anybody hanging on to anything. It's not good juju. It's not good. That's not good inside. I want it all out. So if there's anything that you did that you might, like the show's over yesterday. Soccer's in session live is over yesterday. Maybe 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Might have been after dinner. Something sticks in your head. It's like, oh, I forgot this. Morning, Alex. There's anything else on your mind, go ahead and lay it all out there. That's what we're here for. So leftovers from yesterday when it comes to Atlanta United. And I will stipulate that Mondays are for spirited discussion. Tuesdays are as well. Pretty much anything, any day that anything is left in your brain, go ahead and lay it all out there. And I know that I've gotten some good-natured ribbing about the doctor being in, charging a nickel or a dime for your thoughts. Doctor's in. Doctor's always in. There are no off hours when it comes to the doctor. So you come wandering up, and was it Lucy would do this move, trying to listen to Charlie Brown when the doctor's in or whomever. I promise I would be paying more attention than Lucy, just to sit there and give you the nickel or the dime. The sound of money, straight cash, and she shakes the can. If there's anything left over from Monday, lay it all out there. Yes, exactly. And another thing. Alex, you are spot on. Morning from the gym. Wow. Tom is far more active than the rest of us this early in the morning. So anything left over from yesterday, lay it all out there. Because tonight is another night. It's Open Cup. The magic of the Open Cup. We'll go over Open Cup coming up in a little bit, probably after opening kickoff. Opening kickoff is news from overseas. It has to do with points, and points that you thought you might be getting back, but you didn't. Because you didn't change your case. So you're thinking, well, but is going to be your defense. Didn't quite work. We'll get into that for opening kickoff. So opening kickoff. Open Cup, we'll look at Atlanta United. We'll look at Charlotte Independence and see what they bring to the table. A couple of dudes to pay attention to for Charlotte. And there have been times where so far this season, Maddie has gotten the chance to catch up with Mike Jeffries, the head coach of Charlotte Independence. So we'll kind of roll over Charlotte and let you know what's going on there. Probably the biggest story is between the sticks for them. But do not discount them offensively either. So we'll get into that. There's other news of the morning. Drew, bless him, yesterday. Drew, traditionally we try to have prim and proper at, say, 10:30 in the morning, last half hour of the show, where Drew gets to vent about his beloved United. He didn't even get the chance to do that yesterday because he had to wait on a wrecker. And then he had to sit there and watch Manchester United Crystal Palace yesterday. And so he's in a world of hurt in a bunch of different ways. So we'll go over Manchester United, what's up with them, all the other news that's out there in the Premier League this morning. But obviously, like I said, the breaking news will go first. Then we'll talk about what happened with Manchester United, what isn't happening with Manchester United, and laying all of that out there. There have been sackings, believe it or not, in the championship. It's like, well, you know what? Dude was nominated for a manager of the year in the championship. Yeah, tell you what, there's the door. We had that. It's the beginning of the high school playoffs. We'll get into that. Just as a quick primer for those of you that can't join at noon for Soccer's In Session Live. And soccer's in session live, stacking up this way. Looks like it's going to be Mateen Ziba and Luke Winstall, who get to catch us up on their sides, the matches that they're calling. I think we're catching Mateen straight out of the gym, by the way. So Mateen Ziba, Luke Winstall joining us in the first half hour. Second half hour looks like it's going to be Coach Ray Torres from Columbus and Coach Benjamin Grassmeyer from North Oconee. And what I've done with Soccer's in Session Live is give the coaches the option of coming the day before, knowing that their travel plans, they might be in a bus, they might be on the road, those kinds of things. So I've given coaches the option of coming on the day before their matchup, in addition to possibly, if you only have like a mile and a half to travel or something to get to your venue, you can come on the day of. So right now it looks like it's going to be Coach Ray Torres from Columbus, Ben Grassmeyer from North Oconee, Mateen Ziba and Luke Winstall will be calling the matches. I think Jason's going to be joining us on In Session Live Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because he's going to be busy. But tonight's Open Cup, and we'll get into that. So that's the rundown. It's news of the AM. It's anything left over from yesterday involving Atlanta United that's still on your brain. And then, obviously, high school. So it's high school. It's Open Cup. We'll go over the grid for Open Cup today, and we'll go over all the other news that's fit to print. So that's where we are. So there we go. All right. Like I said, get your thoughts in. Get your thoughts in the queue. We'll get through opening kickoff, then we'll get into Open Cup and everything that's going on. So whatever's on your brain, lay it out there. And then we can have the conversations as we go. But obviously, we got to start with the news that's going on overseas because there's only a couple of weeks left in the regular season in English. See, I can't do that. That hurts. That hurts to do that. Only a couple of weeks left in the regular season overseas. And so, obviously, we got to start with a little bit of this. All right, so Nottingham Forest or Varingham Forest, depending on your perspective, they appealed their points deduction, and that didn't go well. Did not go well this morning. So Nottingham Forest was in front of the panel that was a part of the deductions, and they were like, bruh, we're not going to change our defense. But at the same time, what we'd like to do is have you not deduct our points. That didn't quite go well. Points stay deducted, Nottingham Forest person. So here's the deal involving the points and Nottingham Forest. The 4-point deduction is upheld after the appeal was rejected. John Percy at the Telegraph. They remain 17th in the table, 3 points ahead of Luton. And I give them credit because they were like, we're not going to change our point of view. We're not going to change our appeal because then if you did, then you'd be the possibility of getting even dinged even further. We're not going to change our appeal. We just think you were wrong. That didn't work. So you're looking at Burnley, 5 points off safety, 2 matches to go. 3 points clear of Luton. It's going to be those 3 points for those 2 spots, those 3 teams for those 2 spots. Had Forest successfully argued a 1-point deduction, Burnley would have effectively been relegated because of the big goal difference that they have. 2 points would have mathematically confirmed it. So remember, Premier League hit Forest with the 4-point deduction in March after they were found to have breached profit and sustainability rules by exceeding permitted losses of £61 million by 50% of that. Their losses weren't 61, they were 95.5. They contested the punishment as they argued the sale of Brennan Johnson on September 1st, which fell outside the deadline of June 30, was effectively ignored. Beat 2-3-4. Johnson's exit delayed by over 2 months as Forest held out for a bigger fee. Their argument was that waiting to secure a higher amount was a clear attempt to bank profit and remain sustainable. An independent commission now delivered their verdict to leave Forest frustrated. This is once again from John Percy at the Telegraph, as they were convinced the club had a strong case. Remember, Everton, their 10-point deduction was trimmed to 6. Forrest's punishment's going to be the same. So let's see if we can get this straight. You don't change your point of view on this. Obviously, like I said, you can't change your point of view because you get dinged even further. You open that door. You open that door, sir. So let's get this straight. So here we go. All right. So you can only lose. It's 105 over 3 years, but because of the promotion that Nottingham Forest had from the championship, the numbers, they've got to be a little different. You can't just have the whole thing there. So they said now, if I'm reading this incorrectly, let me know. So Forest contended that they contested the ruling. Losses $95.5 million over a 3-year period. Like I said, that's a mix of championship losses and Premier League losses. They don't quite get the full 105 because they weren't in the Premier League for 3 years in a row. They contested the punishment because they argued the sale of Brennan Johnson was ignored. The deadline was supposed to be June 30. They sell Brennan Johnson to Spurs on September 1st. Hang on just a second. I'm going to get a calendar. I'm going to get a calendar here for a second. All right. So June 30. All right. So May, June. Okay. So I have a calendar in my hand. June 30 is the last day of June. Right here. Right there. This year, the Twos are playing at Messi and Friends 2 on the 30th of June, right here. Okay, so 30th of June. This date exists on the calendar. That is the last date of the fiscal year. It's last date of the fiscal year, June 30th. Everything's supposed to be done by then. I could just see Richard Masters in the Premier League sitting here doing this the whole time. June 30. All right, so that's June 30th. July, August, September 1. And by the way, the Twos are in Chattanooga on September the 1st. So how many pages did I turn? 1, 2, well, technically 3. So on a calendar, I turned 3 pages from June 30 to September 1st. I turned 3 pages. June 30, deadline. September 1st, 3 pages later on a calendar, like on a normal calendar, like the ones that we have in our offices or banks have, the bank teller has under the big glass thing. I turned 3 pages. That doesn't quite seem like it's on the same page as June 30th. But no, it was ignored. Well, yeah, it was ignored. It's not June 30th. June 30th is not September 1st. September 1st is not June 30th. Unless there's something going on with the Julian calendar that I don't know about. Something involving the sun and rotation and skipping pages in a book. Why do I feel like Evangelinas Marinakis would be the kind of guy that would be very, very tired in reading a book and sit there, and if the plot's too long, he goes to the end to figure out who done it? May, June, July, August, September. Not the same. The butler did it. That, to me, is how Evangelinas Marinakis reads books. Effectively ignored. Well, yes. You ignored the fact that we sold him 2 months later, plus a couple of days. Well, yeah. If this wasn't a case of the galloping does, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. Legitimately. I don't know. I legitimately don't know. Finkel is, yes, Michael. Absolutely. Michael is right on. But Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Absolutely true. Oh, man. Forrest said when the punishment was imposed in March that they were extremely disappointed and claimed spending restrictions on promoted clubs undermine the league's integrity and competitiveness. Them's the rules when you signed up. It's like offside. If you've got a problem with offside, change the rule. Don't look at VAR and yell at it. The club argued their reasons for selling Johnson 2 months after the PSR deadline should be treated as mitigation and the points deduction should be suspended. But the independent appeal board said, quote, "We reject all the criticisms made by the club of the commission's approach and reasoning." Forrest breached permitted losses, $61 million. they went to 95.5. That's not right. That's not the same. That's not the same, sir. That is not the same. 95.5 does not equal 61. It does not. Like I said, I don't think I'm missing anything there. I don't think that. I don't think that my numbers are off. And so, yeah, Nuno said, "All this is a distraction." Well, sure. Sure it is. Absolutely it is. Why not? When you drop $250 million on all these transfers that you bring in and you have zero sense of rhythm and timing and trying to, it's like, what do you want to do? Oh, I'm going to throw money at the problem. I'm going to throw money at the problem. Obviously, victory is essential in these kinds of things. Yeah, Nuno's like, but. So there you go. Didn't work. It did not work on appeal. Yikes. That's opening kickoff. It's just a yikes. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Oh, boy. That's your QR code for those of you who are watching on the YouTubes, the Twitch, and on the 280-character app. That's a QR code, and you click on that QR code from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%. Just ask Melissa Ortiz. They take 10% reinvested in youth initiatives and programs that they have earmarked. Very, very cool things from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Housekeeping. There's the scarf to help out the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. You can help them out from ground zero, day one, year one, trying to get a national football program off the ground. Remember a couple months ago, they were in Arkansas. Northwest Arkansas, the Four Corners up there. Northwest Arkansas and Oklahoma, that particular area, Missouri and Kansas. That's where a lot of the Marshallese are here in the United States. And so they were in Northwest Arkansas having clinics and doing some recruiting. We want to help them out from day one. We've been catching up with them and getting all their stories. You purchase the scarf for $32. You can go to their website and basically just you can forego the shipping costs, or if you want to just pay the shipping, it's kind of like an over the top, and we can find a way to get it to you here on this side of the planet. We'll do that. 32 plus 5 if you want it shipped. 32 plus nothing if you meet up with me tonight at Open Cup, or if you want Abby to deliver it to you in the Appstermobile. Marshall Islands Soccer Federation, they have their own app. I have it on my phone on Android. You can go to their website as well, but that's the scarf to help out the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. Money goes directly to them, and they can do whatever they need to do to get things done to build the program from scratch. So you can go and do that and help out the Marshall Island Soccer Federation right there. 32 right out of the blocks. You can go to their website and buy it that way and then end up paying a shipping cost. And if you just want to donate the shipping cost, you could do that too. I know that for Joseph tonight, I'm taking 4 scarves to Kennesaw. If I need to take more, let me know. Reach out to me, reach out to the show, DM me, DM the show, email me, text me, whatever. Discord, what have you. I know I'm bringing 4 tonight. I can bring a lot more than 4. That's what bags are for. So there you go. Help out the Marshall Island Soccer Federation. It's a fantastic story. It's about growing the game, and you can do your part as well. And just so you know, our Maddie is graduating from Kennesaw State on Thursday. And if you follow Maddie on social media, you got to see her senior pictures. And it was very, very humbling to see her SDH scarf as a part of her graduation cap and gown setup. I mean, I don't know if they're going to allow her to wear the SDH scarf as a part of her cap and gown. That's a different kind of graduation, man. But Maddie's graduating from Kennesaw State on Thursday. That's why she has been focusing on getting ready for graduation and writing articles and things like that. And she hasn't been here on the morning show because she's got a graduation to get ready for. But that's happening Thursday, and we could not be prouder that she is going to be graduating from Kennesaw State. Could not be more humbled that she dove in and has just been absolute gangbuster since day one. But yeah, Maddie's graduating on Thursday. So don't know how much Maddie we're going to have this week, considering all the graduation and things like that. But yeah, so Maddie's graduating. Check out her pictures on social media. If you follow her, if you don't follow her, go ahead and do the search and follow her. Fantastic pictures. Very humbling that she would include SDH as a part of her graduation photo. So that's what Maddie's up to this week. Remember, noon, soccer's in session live, getting you ready for the high school games. We'll go into that bit of a preview with that coming up a little later on. Preview the show, preview what's going on. You've got matches today. Have play-by-play voices and coaches all week long on Soccer's in Session Live, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Kaiser Permanente at KP Georgia on the 280-character app for all that is you. Can't thank Kaiser enough for being a great partner with us, not just during the high school season, but all season long when it comes to everything that we're doing here at SDH. So that's opening kickoff. Now, Open Cup. The magic of the Open Cup. Dell, I use Android. I'm an Android. I'm literally all you iPhone folks. Y'all are over there. I'm an Android guy. But Open Cup today. This is when the eight new teams plug in on the MLS side. It's the 8 new teams plugging in on the USL Championship side. So today, here's your matchups, and we actually do have juice boxes today and tomorrow. They split them up, so it is 7 today, which means that there are 11 tomorrow, and obviously we can get into the 11 as well. So 3, 6, 9, 7, and 9. So 7 and 9, not 36. So round of 32. So Pittsburgh and Tulsa. We'll get into juice boxes here in just a little bit. Pittsburgh and Tulsa, 7 o'clock tonight at Highmark. Atlanta United, Charlotte Independent, 7:30 at the Fraction. 92.9 The Game has your pregame. 6:30, full post-match after. Mike and Jason, Abe and Garrett. 8 o'clock at Hell in a Shell, Houston Dynamo and Detroit City. 8:30 Eastern, FC Dallas hosting Memphis 901 on our friend Stephen Glass. 10 o'clock, you get 3 matches out west today. San Jose hosting Oakland at PayPal Park. That one's at 10. Championship Soccer Stadium, Irvine, California. It is Orange County and Loudoun United. Then at 10:30 at Heart Health, it is Sacramento Republic and Monterey Bay. I think everything in that particular region goes through Sacramento. Sacramento can get some stuff done because it's San Jose and Oakland. We know what San Jose isn't doing right now in Major League Soccer. And Sacramento, gangbusters in USL Championship. And I'm looking at Sacramento to make it out of that region, that division. So, looking at the juice boxes, the juice boxes actually do exist. Pittsburgh is a minus 196. Was FC Tulsa visiting. They're north of plus 475 to win in 90 minutes. No surprise, Atlanta United a minus 500 hosting Charlotte Independence, who are basically a plus 1,000 to win in 90 minutes. Houston minus 227 hosting Detroit City. Dallas a minus 222 hosting Memphis. Orange County a minus 139 hosting Loudoun. I mean, it's basically a midweek USL Championship matchup. San Jose's a minus 400 against Oakland. Oakland hasn't had a good start in USL Championship. I could see San Jose winning this one and then running into trouble against Sacramento. So San Jose minus 400, Sacramento minus 189. Remember, Charleston and Tormenta is tomorrow. Charleston and Tormenta is tomorrow. I'll try and grab sound from Ian Cameron to play for you on the morning show tomorrow as they get ready for it. Charleston favored. San Antonio on the road favored against Indy 11. Like I said, we'll look at these numbers again tomorrow and see how much has changed. San Antonio favored at a plus 108 heading to Indy 11. North Carolina FC, a slight underdog as Phoenix visits tomorrow in the midweek at a plus 148. NYC FC 2, after the goalless draw with Atlanta United, they are an underdog at home against Colorado Springs. Kaylor Hodges thought that Colorado Springs ain't all that. So if anybody could advance, it might be NYC FC 2 as they play that one on the campus of St. John's. Colorado Springs, by the way, is a plus 104. Tampa Bay on the minus side hosting Birmingham Legion. Sporting a big favorite on the road at that Union Omaha in Papilla, Nebraska. And RSL favored on the road at a minus 109 at New Mexico United. LAFC favored minus 108 on the road at Cashman taking on Vegas. And Seattle, big favorite, minus 250 hosting Lou City at a plus 568. Do I think, Della asks, do I think we're going to get an Atlanta-Charleston match in the next round? If you believe in chalk, I'm not going to put anything past Tormenta with how they are when it comes to knocking folks off from higher divisions when it comes to the Open Cup. Not gonna put anything past Tormenta at all. I want to know what the lineup's going to be because you figure South Georgia Tormenta tomorrow is going to put up as fairly first choice a lineup as possible. I want to know what Ben Pierman's going to do. Is Ben Pierman going to put in a first choice lineup, or is he going to have to? Does he put in a lineup, and if he trails, is it like I've got to do something to try to get an equalizer and try to keep this match going after 90 minutes? That's what you're staring at here. And that's the larger element with all of the upper division clubs. What does their lineup look like? I know that you're looking at Josh Cohen between the sticks for Atlanta United 2 tonight. And so you can advance to the round of 16, you wonder what the lineup's going to be. You did see that Jacob Williams, Ashton Gordon were signed to short-term deals by Atlanta United heading into this particular matchup. The idea of a short-term deal for me, legitimately, I think that in these competitions, you ought to be able to have the opportunity to have your roster reflect whatever you want it to reflect. And you shouldn't have to sign these short-term deal things. It's just like, look, here's what my roster is. If you're on the 30, you're on the 30. If you're not on the 30, then maybe you sign to the short-term deal. But if you're on the 30, just let the 30 be. Let the 30 be for the competition, and you get to plug in whomever you want. I know, obviously, the larger question centers around Tyler Wolff. You figured that Tyler Wolff might be getting minutes, and you're looking at now, what are you looking at on the left-hand side? Is it Luke Brennan's season, as Jared had posited yesterday? Is it the beginning of Luke Brennan's season? Do you see Firmino playing and starting? I want to see how this lineup looks. Obviously, with Josh Cohen has been a hot hand when he has been available for the twos recently. And as we get into goalkeeping, Josh Cohen had a very successful shootout against NYCFC. Austin Pack has had an incredible round of shootout successes for Charlotte Independence. So I guess the lesson here for either side, don't get this to a shootout because you could be going for a while with Austin Pack and Josh Cohen. But like I said, I want to see how this lays out. I want to see what the rosters look like. Obviously, for Charlotte, you're tied to Austin Pack between the sticks. Another person to keep an eye on, Juan Carlos Obregon. Late addition to the 2024 side for Charlotte Independence and Mike Jeffries. 4 goals in his last 4 matches. Got the only goal against Tormenta. 80% pass completion, 7 duels, and 2 picks last time out for Charlotte Independence. So Juan Carlos Obregon and also Luis Alvarez. But Obregon and Pack, that's where if you're going to the fraction tonight or if you're going to watch the match in and of itself, whether it's however you watch it, online, in person, what have you, look between the sticks, look for Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. And I want to know if Mike Jeffries is going to be somewhat defensive in his layout out of the blocks. Make Atlanta United do all the work. Make them do all the work. Those would be the questions for me. So it's lineup. How much twos activity are you going to see? And what's it going to look like on the left? Obviously, with the injury to Tyler Wolff, out a minimum of 4 weeks, unless he's just a beast when it comes to rehab and recuperative powers. So you're looking at 4 weeks without Tyler Wolff. Who steps into that space? Shande Silva not 100% yet. What do you do on the left? Is Saba on the left? Is it Brennan and Mosqueda on the right? Is it Mosqueda on the left, considering that you've got DC coming in on the weekend? How many minutes do you go? Do you go 45? I think what you're going to try to do here is you're going to try to find some distance early between yourself and Charlotte because you have this big match coming up against DC United on the weekend on Saturday. Get out of the blocks. Don't spin your wheels. Goals early. Force Charlotte to come back on you to try to close the deficit. But I would anticipate Charlotte coming in and making Atlanta United do all the work. You can call it a rope-a-dope, call it whatever you want. But I think that you're going to see Charlotte do this, at least to start, to see if Atlanta can break through. That's my gut. Josh Cohen between the sticks. We'll see how much of a hybrid it's going to be and see how many of the young kids, and I mean that in the sense of academy players and twos players, get reps in this matchup. Do you see Dax McCarty getting minutes? The experience at a 6, I think that would help. However many minutes Dax gets. To have that kind of a calming influence at the back, I think would help you there. But what does your front line look like? And what does your back line look like? Knowing that DC is lurking around the corner. But I do think that you're going to be seeing some integration with some folks with what we see for the twos and Cohen between the sticks. So Josh Cohen becomes your Open Cup keeper. We'll see what happens there. Dell reminding everybody that Charleston has that the Battery have a deep bench. Robbie Crawford, Diego Gutierrez, Jake LaCava, Josh Drack, and Jackson Conway. So Jacko would be part of the bench for the Charleston Battery. But 7 tonight, 9 tomorrow, round of 32. And you can watch it on the YouTubes. You can watch it at ussoccer.com, or you can be in person at the Fraction. It'll be good to see everybody there tonight. But anything on your mind involving that, that's what we're here for today. Anything involving anything else that we missed, that's what we're here for today. So, morning, Alex. Morning, Tom. Morning, David. Morning, Pars. Morning, Dell. And morning, Michael Valverde. Morning, Derek. Android. Absolutely. Right there with you. So, Tom says that, one thing you've been paying attention to until you listen to FSF last night. This is the upcoming schedule. Saturday is essentially an absolute must-win. Don't see points the rest of the month after that. That, of course, is barring some sudden miraculous turnaround in form. So let's take a peek at that schedule that the Airborne DJ was staring at. So after today, for the rest of the month, as it slides down, at Cincinnati, at Nashville, I could see points at Nashville. LAFC coming to town, and Messi and friends on a Wednesday. So Messi and friends coming in on a Wednesday. Since you went down this road, let's go down this road. So on May the 29th at 7:30, middle of the week, down there at Chase in Fort Lauderdale with Messi and friends. So if that is the case, so let's check their schedule and counteract it with what's going on with Atlanta United toward the tail end of the month. All right, so Messi and Friends, they should just call it MessiandFriends.com. They really should. That would be the proper terminology, by the way, MessiandFriends.com. So they have, okay, so here's how it looks. For Messi and Friends, if you're staring at that toward the end of the month, it is a matchup Saturday in Vancouver, flying back. So you're not getting home until Sunday afternoon. Monday is rest and recuperation. Tuesday, you're staring at film. Wednesday, you welcome Atlanta. And then you have St. Louis coming in on Saturday. So you're flying back from Vancouver for a midweek match against Atlanta, and then you've got St. Louis. So you have 3 matches in a week. 2 of them, yes, are at home, but your matchup with Atlanta is coming back after the matchup in Vancouver. So do not be surprised with that one being where it is in the schedule, meaning the matchup for Messi and friends hosting Atlanta United, that you do see some squad rotation because of being in Vancouver, flying back home. Then maybe Suarez is on the bench, considering that it takes him a couple of days just to get his knees to properly function. Suarez on the bench, Messi sits it out. I think that you get a rotated, and this is obviously 22 days away from this, but 3 weeks out looking at their schedule, I think that you get some rotation. I think you get some rotation from Messi and friends. LAFC is not the same LAFC that we're used to. Steve Cherundolo for the last season plus, I don't know why, has felt compelled to be more defensive oriented. So I'm like, LAFC ain't the same LAFC to me. I think LAFC can be had, and especially away from home. Everybody talks about the 32-52. Everybody talks about how LAFC is at home. They are an entirely different animal on the field, and they are an entirely different animal away from home. You will not get roster rotation. You won't get side rotation from LAFC in that one because they will have played 10 days previous. So they're coming here with first choice, but still, they ain't the same. They're not the same. And Steve Cherundolo, for whatever reason, has decided to play a little bit more defensive, He's decided to play more defensively oriented than he has in the past. Nashville, last Saturday to me was more upside down world than anything else. It was almost like, for the Saturday Night Live reference, Tim Kazurinsky as the president in Bizarro World. He's thirsty and he wants a nice glass of sand. I think we saw that in the results last Saturday. Did not anticipate sand. How many of you legitimately think that how many of you had Sam Surridge on your fantasy team? How many? Show of hands. How many of you have Sam Surridge on your fantasy team or monitor Sam Surridge and sit there and go, he's Zinedine Zidane? I don't think any of you do. And if you do, I want to see physical evidence with a timestamp that you had Sam Surridge on your fantasy team or were monitoring him appropriately, because Sam Surridge and hat trick are not two things that I had in my bingo card. But yeah, Saturday for me, bizarro world at points when it came to what we saw in Major League Soccer last week. Nashville is definitely part of that. I don't know what Gary Smith said, but Nashville was the Nashville that, how far back have we sat there and we're like, yeah, that's the Nashville that you would have liked? If you're a fan of Nashville SC, we probably need to get Lucas Panzic on the hotline to talk about what's going on with Nashville. But I mean, when you look at the results from last weekend, Charlotte over Portland, DC and Philly, you can't hang on to a lead. And I know that that's something that's Troy Lacine probably drove Troy Lacine crazy. You had a 2-0 lead after 33 minutes. You couldn't hang on to it. It was 2-1, and then Philadelphia just gets a golazo for like the 90th game in a row. DC can't hang on to a lead. How many of you had Messi and friends putting 6 on Red Bulls, especially after what happened in match number 1 up at Harrison, New Jersey? That was a bit of a shocker. Not necessarily that Inter Miami won, but the margin by what they did. Sandro Schwartz, I imagine, was not happy. How many of you had San Jose putting 3 on LAFC? I didn't. How many of you had Toronto putting 3 on Dallas? Maybe winning, but not 3. Bernardeschi found the back of the net. How many of you had New England beating Chicago in Chicago? Houston and St. Louis. Goalless draw. Nashville put 4 on Montreal at Geodis. How many matches previous did it take Nashville to get 4 goals, much less score 4 at home against Montreal? Where did this offense come from? And what have you done with Nashville's offense? Gary Smith. Salt Lake beating Kansas City, no surprise. In Vancouver, not getting any goals on the board at home against Austin. Colorado on the road beating NYC. And Seattle and LAG a goalless draw. Of those results, as we sit here and look, Lassane, thank you. Yeah, Lassane, yes. Yeah, Troy Lassane. Because for me, it was like Lassine. I was all over the place. It's Lassane. I think it's Lassane. So we look at the results from last week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8.5. 8.5 of the results last week outside of Atlanta, Minnesota. Outside of Atlanta, Minnesota, 8.5 results that we had last week, we did not plan for. At least I didn't. And that's why I don't put any juice boxes. I will tell you what the juice boxes are, but I will not sacrifice juice boxes. Because for me, that's a dumb thing. And if I did that stuff, it would not go over well with the bank account. It would not go well with the boss, because the bank account would be empty in a hurry if I did anything. If I did anything involving those kinds of things. But 8.5 matchups. 8.5 matchups last week did not go the way that I would have anticipated that they did. Like I said, putting Atlanta to the side, obviously. But 8.5 matchups outside Atlanta and Minnesota. We had Bizarro World last week. And that's why the standings are where they are right now. People doing things that we did not expect. People doing things we don't understand. But 8.5 matchups last week. And so that's why things are where they are. Standings right now in the East. Miami, like I said, through 12, 24 points. No surprise. Like I said, we're at turn one of the tricky triangle at Pocono. Miami is where they are. 32 goals in 12 matchups. Cincinnati at 21 points. Toronto's at 19. I did not have Toronto at right here at this point of the schedule. I did not. Did not have them. I mean, and they're only scoring to get to 14 goals scored. Getting the 3 on the board in this one, they had 11 and 10 going into this matchup last week. Did not have them being as successful as they are. I imagine they'll come back to earth. That's just my gut. Red Bulls at 17, Columbus at 15, and Columbus is navigating the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza while doing this. Charlotte at 14, NYC at 14, Philly at 14, DC at 14. We know that this is going to be a street fight. Atlanta right now in 10th, 2 points out with a match in hand. Montreal's at 12, Nashville's at 11 with that win. With that win, they had only scored 10 goals in their first 9 matches. Then they put 4 on the board. They win. Nashville had been hemorrhaging goals. They'd given up almost 2 goals a match going into the matchup last week. And Chicago at 10. Purple team. And now this is one that surprises me. The purple team next to last in the Eastern Conference. I did not have that. As much as I didn't have Toronto being where they are, I did not have the purple team being where they are. Next to last in the Eastern Conference right now, 9 points, 10 matches, 11 goals scored. Is the injury to Facundo Farias, does that make that much? 18 goals allowed by El Pulpo. Pedro Gallese, a 1.8 goals per match average allowed. And then New England being New England. Now, he said New England did not have them winning in Chicago. But sure, Caleb Porter can talk it up all he wants. 7 points, 2-7-1. Only 7 goals scored in 10 matches. That's how porous That's how porous their defense was going into last week. And that's how poor their offense is going into last week. 7 goals scored, and you've won only twice. But at this point, Derek, give it time. The purple team might be last. Western Conference. Salt Lake had them good, didn't have them at the top. 11 matches, 21 points. Minnesota definitely didn't have them where they are. But I think what you're seeing out of Eric Ramsey and his bunch is, once again, defend and counter. This roster is not quite where he wants it. And he has to wait until the summer, and then he'll have the offseason. But he wants youth, he wants speed, he wants pressure. And you're seeing Timu Pukki come off the bench now. Give me 30, put the ball in the net. You know, Michael Boxall, he's wearing your captain's armband, but he's older than Eric Ramsey is. So right now, with these adjustments that Eric Ramsey is making, they're second. LAG, spending money at a problem. $19 million on Peck and Puig. Peck and Paintsel. Plus the bargain of the century when you got Ricky Puig. When Ricky Puig isn't sitting out because of yellow card accumulation. Third place, I figured they would be somewhere there. Vancouver, figured they would be somewhere in that range, but I did not have them losing. I did not have them not getting any result last weekend without any goals against Austin, specifically at home. Colorado, Chris Armas. Hey, you've invested. Look at this. And you actually won I was about to say Shea Stadium, where the Mets play, without Georgi Mihailovic. So you're in 5th. Austin, I didn't have Austin here. I didn't have Austin in 6th at 16 points. LAFC 4-4-3. LAFC is they're there right now. On the road this year, away from home, 0-4-1. Like I said, ever since they lost 2 CONCACAF competitions ago, it has not been the same team. John Thorrington will throw money at a problem, but it has not been the same team philosophically out there on the field. It has not been that bunch of, we're going to just run you into the ground, and if you're playing at our place, we're just going to absolutely tilt the field, and we're going to run at 9,000 miles an hour. LAFC and BMO Stadium is not the fortress it was. It just isn't. Now, like I said, it might be going back to Steve Cherundolo philosophically. Ever since they got bumped out of the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza 2 tournaments ago, they've not been the same team. Sure, some pieces are there, but they can be had at the back. And if you get past them, then you can try to get the ball past Hugo Lloris. And they know that they need help. And that's why they're bringing in, allegedly, possibly, probably, Olivier Giroud. They need help up top. Giroud will be Bale 2.0. Year-and-a-half deal. And a very pretty man will be up top to help things out for LAFC. But they are not the same team that they've been to get them deep into the playoffs. They're not. Houston, 8th place right now at 14 points. I mean, new ownership, new investment. Ben Olsen, we saw what they were able to do last year, so it's more the same. They just haven't had folks healthy. I think Ache has been Ache's been dinged up. They haven't been able to do as much as they've been able to do. St. Louis, and this is where I think that St. Louis has come back to the main. I really do. Last season, St. Louis for me, for the baseball analogy, it's the first time that you get a pitcher called up from the minor leagues and you don't have a book on him. And then he'll go 5 1/3, 5 2/3, give up a run. He'll leave 2 guys on base. The manager will come out and he'll pull him, and then you go to the bullpen to try to preserve the rest of the game. That starting pitcher last year was all caps to me. You kind of know that they're going to do something with Bradley Carnell, something Red Bullsy, but you don't know Carnell's twist on it. All these faces brought in Roman Berkey between the sticks. You found out why you invested the money in a DP keeper. This year, you got book on St. Louis. I'm looking forward to a St. Louis road trip. I don't think I can do it this year. I'll be Nottingham Forest here for a second. May, June. Yeah, I might be able to. It'd be flying in the day of, maybe hanging out for a day or 2, but still. June, not May. I think book's out on St. Louis. Kansas City, they're hard to read. Sometimes they're fantastic, sometimes they're not. I guess that means they're a 500 team. Seattle, injuries, killing them. When we have Nico on Thursdays, that's usually, that's one of the first topics that comes through. A lot of their key players injured. You're talking injuries, you're talking age, you're talking depth, and you're trying to integrate the younger players into what's going on in Seattle. I think they'll turn it around eventually, but they've only scored 13 goals in the first 11 matches. Portland, I still think they're trying to figure themselves out. Scored a lot, given up a lot. Dallas and San Jose, we know about Dallas and San Jose. They're the bottom of the West. San Jose, 26 goals allowed in their first 11 matches. 26. Portland's given up 23. But 26 goals given up in your first 11 matches. 2.364 goals per game average allowed. That's a lot. Dallas 0-4-1 away from home. San Jose 0-5-1 away from home. So when we look at what we just went through, like I said, we're at turn one of the tricky triangle at Pocono here. I think we've got some teams where we figured they were. Like I said, Atlanta outside of the discussion. Some teams we figured that they would be where they are. Last weekend was a bizarro weekend with 8.5 of the matchups sitting there going, okay, that was not what I anticipated. And then trying to figure out where the other folks are and what they need to do. You got a summer window coming up. You've got rule changes that have been tweaked. You got to figure out what you want to do from here. But I think that, like I said, that's like the scene in Secret of My Success at the end. Some of you, with Fred Gwynn, some of you have been helpful. You can stay. But, others are going to have to go. But all of y'all, some of the folks we knew where they were. Some of the folks we think we know where they are. Is last weekend a blip, or are they turning things around? And then others, like I said, both ends of the spectrum, the high and the low, we kind of figured out where folks were. Is what happened last weekend with the bizarro world of matchups, is that just a blip, or is that a trend that we need to pay attention to going forward? So that's the look at the 1/3 poll. Dell asking the question: what happened to St. Louis? His buddy John Milracy was an assistant coach and got moved down to St. Louis 2 after the season. Well, and you're looking at it. I think that St. Louis, like I said, I think with St. Louis, I think book is out. You know what they're going to do, and if they don't have their roster at 100% with the first choice personnel, then there is a gap that they have yet to figure out how to close when it comes to personnel and philosophy and such. If you don't have Klaus and Lowen and the rest of that firepower that you're looking for, and Berkey between the sticks, then Nico Gioacchini, Gioacchini went over. Where did Nico Gioacchini go? Hang on just a second. See, this is the beauty of having something here. Yes, that's what I was spelling. Good. Yeah, he's playing in Como in Serie B. Yeah, so Como in Serie B for Gioacchini. And every time I say Gioacchini, I feel like I'm staring at a vegetable. All right, so by comparison, last weekend, well, let's go and so St. Louis, goalless draw at Hell in a Shell against Houston. So here's the starting lineup for all caps. Berkey in net, Markanich, Kyle Hebert, Tim Parker, and Thomas Totland. That's your back four. Ahead of them, it's Chris Durkin and Tomas Ostrak. Ahead of them, Pompeu, who they signed to another deal. Indiana Vasilev, the pride of the Tormenta organization. It is Rasmus Almond, Joao Klaus. So you don't have Lewin that you had last year. Aziel Jackson, Jake Nerwinski, Samuel Adeniran. I don't know why they're not starting Adeniran. Akil Watts, Ben Lunt was your third keeper. Joachim Nielsen, Nokvi Thoresen, Jose Kojima, your draft pick, and Nicholas Deere. But like I said, it is the Red Bullsian system for all caps. It is all a part of that Red Bulls collective thought process. And if you don't have all your pieces, like I said, you don't have Lewin, who was integral to your offensive success last year. You brought in Pompeu, Indiana Vasilev getting more minutes. But Markanich, Hebert, Tim Parker, who's not getting any younger, and Thomas Totland in front of Roman Berkey. So you're staring at, center back simply not passing it directly back to the forwards anymore, according to Alex. Yeah, that too. Last season, I will swear to God, Alex, how many times did we see? And I mean, it happened more than once. More than the Stroud incident against Austin. But I swear to God, it happened more than once. I swear it happened like 3 or 4 times where literally folks are turning around. It's like, hey, and then they pass it back, and literally you're off and running. If you're St. Louis. 32% possession against Houston. And for a team, but Red Bulls, I mean, if you think about St. Louis is Red Bulls. Red Bulls is St. Louis. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Didn't think we'd have that for a double mention this morning. But when you have a Red Bulls team, they don't want the ball. The ball has cooties. The ball has cooties if you're Red Bulls. So therefore, if you're St. Louis and Red Bulls, ball has cooties. I don't want it. I don't want to build up. I don't want to build up anything when it comes to having possession of the ball if I am St. Louis. But that's the thing. If the best way to chase after St. Louis City SC, let them have the ball. All right, here you go. You take it. No, I don't want it. Tough, take it. Don't care. So as a club, when it comes to possession, you're looking at, all right, so I need team stats. I don't need like the individual possession dudes, because that doesn't help me any. That doesn't help me any, FB ref. I wanted to get the numbers. So season stats, goal logs, wages, passing, shooting. I need like Major League Soccer. I don't need like just I don't need just the St. Louis City SC numbers. So squad standard stats. I know this is making for tremendous TV and radio. Squad possession. Okay. So possession percentages. Oh, passes attempted. I don't care about that. Passes attempted, they're 26th. Touches, live, take-ons, carries, receiving. I don't want that. I don't want those numbers. I don't want squad possession. I want like actual possession time. Squad playing time, I don't care. Defensive actions, I don't care. I need possession, like possession percentages. I don't think I'm asking for much, FB ref. So, all right, so we'll go this way. We'll go to Major League Soccer, and we'll look at the statistics just to get the whole idea of possession and what we're staring at. All right, so let's see. General attacking. So passing percentage. I don't want that. Attacking, shots, XP, XG, all these kinds of things. Somebody get me possession numbers. Find them out for me. Completed passes, expected goals, yellow cards, key passes, games played. My kingdom for possession numbers in Major League Soccer. I know told me there'd be no math. I know, but it's like, okay, possession stats. All right, so I've clicked on possession stats. Squad possession, take-ons, tackles, carries, receiving, touches. Fine. Percentages of passes attempted, St. Louis was 25th at 45.8%. Touches. I may as well just go to the bottom. St. Louis, next to last in touches. next to last in touches in their inside their 18, last in touches in their defensive third, last in touches in the middle third, and then they are far different in the attacking third because, once again, it is all about those numbers. 3, 6, 9, 11th. They're actually ahead of Red Bulls. So St. Louis is 11th in possession in the attacking third because of the stylistic idea of play. So versus St. Louis, possession against St. Louis, fifth in Major League Soccer at 54.2%. Then you get into touches against St. Louis because of the defense. They're toward the bottom. They're in the 20s. But that's the thing. You're looking at possession. They don't want it. They don't care. But, yeah, that's the thing, Alex. I swear it was at least 3 or 4 times where, hey, you pass it back and then you create something and St. Louis gets a goal. It wasn't just Jared Stroud. But that's just how they operate. And knowing how they operate, like I said, going up against Red Bulls in years past, basically here, you can have it. You build up. And that's not the strong suit of a team that has Tim Parker at the back and Roman Berkey. What they want to do, they want to skip lines. They want to press. They want short field. They want to be clinical. They want to try and score. And they want to yell at Jared Stroud. It's different. If you're St. Louis and you're being forced to build up, that's not you. And so you're sitting there and you're wondering, it's like, what am I doing here? It's a square peg, round hole. And that's why I think St. Louis has been found out. They've drawn 7 times already this year. But I think they've been found out. Yeah, they've only lost once, but that's the thing. They do enough to get a point out of the deal. It's like if they're fighting back, then they'll fight it back. They'll get a point. That's just how it rolls with them. 7 draws in 10 games. It's like they're getting out of there with a point. They're not getting out of there with 3. They're just kind of slogging a point at a time. So I think St. Louis has been found out. Found out in the playoffs. I mean, look, you can win the pie plate all you want with a style of play. But if I get to play you more than once, if I get to play you home and home, and I know what you're up to, you're found out. Playing you in a one-off, maybe the home and away in the Western Conference, and then maybe you end up with something else going on. If I'm in the Western Conference and I play St. Louis, look, I got you pegged. I get to play you more than once back to back. Looking at film, it ain't different. And Bradley Carnell, I don't think, is going to change how he's going to do things in the second game of a home and home in a 2-leg series. This is who they are. That's their DNA. I don't think they're that malleable. And I think that they've been found out. Like I said, I just think that you are who you are. And it's up to you to change. And I don't think that St. Louis is really going to change a whole lot. They haven't won once away from home either. They're 0-1-4 away from home. City Park turned out to be a nice little joint for them so far. I still think it's too small. 2-0-3 at home, 0-1-4 away from home. 4 teams in the Western Conference and 7 teams in the Eastern Conference have not won away from home this year. Half of the Eastern Conference have not won away from home. 11 teams in Major League Soccer have not won away from home so far this year. We knew that going in, but it's just when you see the empirical evidence laid out in front of you, 7 teams have not won in the Eastern Conference away from home. So obviously, if you're an Atlanta United fan, you can sit there and say, okay, well, we're not alone in this. And you know what? Columbus hasn't won away from home. Charlotte hasn't won away from home. NYC hasn't won away from home. DC has not won away from home, and they're above you in the standings right now, and you still have a match in hand. All of that's going on right now. 11 teams have not won away from home so far this year. That is staggering to me. Did not anticipate that on the bingo card this morning. Yeah, my misery is not loving the company. True, understandable. Hutch, I truly do understand. Let's see if there was anything that I missed leading into. Let's see. I think I've caught up with everybody's. Yeah, DC does not have Open Cup. No, DC is not allowed to play in this year's reindeer games. So no, DC does not. They can kind of watch everything else. I mean, their lineup last time out involved Christian Benteke, and for those of you that will be at Mercedes-Benz on Saturday, you'll see somebody with a 30-foot head that we'll be discussing, Christian Benteke, and the oddities of some of his offensive numbers. We call that a tease. So it's just there's some weird stuff with Christian Benteke. But yeah, DC had a lead after 33 minutes, couldn't hang on to it. Dahomey scored, Morel scored. They had a lead, couldn't hold on to it. Their lineup last time out, Benteke and Morel up top, 3-5-2-ish from Lassane. Chris McVeigh, Peltola, and Bartlett. Dahomey and Herrera on the edges. And there's our buddy Jared Stroud in the midfield. Mateus Click, Jackson Hopkins, and then Benteke and Morel up top. They can be had. Chris McVeigh. Remember, Chris McVeigh was a part of the Purge, Messi and Friends style. McVeigh is top 5 in Major League Soccer in fouls called against so far this season. I think, once again, he'll be of the 3 center backs that they have, McVeigh will be your left center back in traditional situations. I think you can run up the right-hand side. I think Atlanta's right can run at Dahomey and McVeigh and Mateus Click. I think you can run there. Bartlett, Herrera, and Stroud, younger. But I think you can run at Chris McVeigh. If you remember times past with Atlanta United going up against Messi and Friends and Chris McVeigh, I think you can run there. So Dahomey, Click, and McVeigh, their left-hand side, your right-hand side, I think you can do that. That's just early analysis looking at their lineup from last time going up against Philly. Question from Kefsey and Dell. Large tall man needed healthy for Saturday. And I think that Kefsey might have answered Dell's question. Who do you put on Benteke? Large tall man, I believe, is what Kefsey was referring to. I think that is Stian Gregerson's nickname, by the way, large tall man. I think that's what you do. Benteke, like I said, his XG and his goals scored are practically identical. Like I said, and I think I'm giving away most of prescription for victory here, at least through one topic. But involving Benteke's XG and his goals scored are practically identical. I think his XG might exceed his goals scored by a third of a point. Like 8.33 to 8 XG to goals scored. So with Benteke, who is not currently playing like the Belgian breadloaf that he was playing as Robbie Earl coined him during his waning days in the Premier League. He is not playing like the Belgian breadloaf. But I think you're going to need large tall man to be there to go up against Benteke. And I think that if you were to bracket Benteke with Sleesh and large tall man, then I think you're in good shape. Benteke leads Major League Soccer. He's tied for first in the number of fouls committed so far this season. I think it's 28. So I think if you can get under Benteke's skin, the only element in that, though, is that Benteke, for all of the fouls he has committed, tied for first with 28 fouls, he is the individual who has not been carded the most. I think of the three that are there, I think he has been carded the least. I think he only has 2 yellows from 28 fouls. One has 5, one has 4, and I think Benteke has 2. But Benteke's tied for first in Major League Soccer for fouls committed, which is interesting. Someone who has as many goals as he does, commits as many fouls as he does, but is not carded. 9 matches, 28 fouls, and I think only 2 yellows, if memory serves. So it's an interesting mix there. Benteke scores when he gets the ball, so he's very clinical with his finishes, but he's also prone to fouling folks. Will the center ref, when we get those assignments, and we'll go through those assignments when we get them later in the week, will that center ref look at Benteke if Benteke is being bracketed by, say, Bart Sleesh and Large Tallman? Will he card Benteke if we go down that road of 3 or 4 fouls and deserves persistent infringement? That is a subplot for me. That is a subplot for me involving Christian Benteke. Because then if you take Benteke away, then it's Cleach and Morel. Or Mateus Click. It's Click and Morel that would be the ones that you would have to score. Dahomey scored, which was a surprise to basically everybody and probably the Dahomey household this past weekend. But if you take Benteke away and let others try to beat you from DC, then that's part of it. Kessie says, if the polar bear isn't playing tonight, at least no Abram and Escobar et al. Collision incidents will occur to center backs. Man, I know that's the thing. But I think you want, Kessie, I think you want a keeper that's in command of his box, and you are going to get this kind of collateral damage from time to time. Although, asking Luis, what his name is and hopefully not giving you the answer of purple after that kind of a collision. And by the way, Brad doing what Brad has been doing this season, I'm going to go back to FB Ref and see if I can get Brad's statistics so far this season. So it's weird to sit here and look at Brad having 19 years of pro experience. So, all right. So according to our friends at FB Ref, save percentage, top 20% in Major League Soccer this year. Top 2/3 or top 1/3 in touches. Top 30% in average distance of a defensive action, and top half of defensive actions outside of the penalty area. So with Brad, let's see. So this season, in 10 matches, goals against of 1.1, shots on target 38, 26 saves, save percentage is 73.7. Like I said, 3, and 4. And all right, so now so that's Brad this season. So if we go to Major League Soccer and look at Brad and compare Brad to what we've seen, squad goalkeeping. Okay, so squad goalkeeping. I can actually click on a notation. All right, so if we go goals against in Major League Soccer, Brad is tied for 3, 5, 6th with Minnesota United and Dane St. Clair. Goals against per 90, Brad is 7th. Shots on target against, Atlanta is 26th. in shots on target against. 26th. They have only allowed 38 shots on target this year. Against Atlanta United, teams going up against Atlanta United, 14 goals, middle of the pack. Goals against per 90, once again, middle of the pack at 14 at 1.4. Save percentage, Brad is 7th in Major League Soccer. It's save percentage. But because of what Atlanta United is doing defensively, Brad has 6th in saves and 7th in save percentage so far this season. And the defense in the overall is 25th in points, at points. Not like points like 1, 2, 3, but marker. They're like 25th, 26th. But yeah, Kefsey, Brad got a Brom good. But Luis is a tough character. He's a tough character. Morning, Four Card. Welcome. So the defense has been there, and we've seen this. The defense has been there for Atlanta United this year, markedly different than it was last year. That has not been the discussion. It was not the discussion for 2 hours yesterday. And I don't anticipate it being a talking point a whole lot this year because you've seen Caleb Wiley improve. You've seen Luis Abram step in. You've seen Efren Morales step in. You've seen Noah Cobb step in. You've seen Large Tall Man, who was picked up, who has amazing closing speed for a free safety of his size. And then, obviously, Brooks on the right-hand side to help out. Defensively, you've seen Saba come back. You've seen Klick. You've seen Bart Sleesh come back and help out. You've seen the forwards come back and help out. It's been a team effort defensively so far this season. But, yeah, if you are a center back or if you're going in there to challenge against Brad Gazan, just be careful. Yeah, Derek, that's the thing. And this is something that maybe we should put out to the Twitch pitch. I don't know. Derek does not understand the Gazan hate. Derek thinks that he's been good. It must be a lot of ageist folks. So you're looking at and Hutch to Hutch's point. Team narcolepsy's been a major problem. It's not it's not the defense on the whole. It's been those moments. It has been moments this year. Unfortunately, it has been different individuals in different moments, in different matches. And it's just being locked in the entire time. Having a goal off a throw, those kinds of things. And like I said, and we talk about those. So, yeah, large, fast, tall man. So perhaps, Kefsey, if we do this, if we do that with a hashtag or just LFTM as an acronym, we know who we're talking about with Stian Gregerson. If we just do LFTM, that's Stian, large, fast, tall man. Saves me time, saves us all time. But if we go LFTM, so yes, LFTM, good. Yes, Derek, that is absolutely correct. And Wiley thinks that the Gazan stuff is an unfair hangover from last year. Don't think he was fully recovered. Yeah, and that's the thing. You're coming off an Achilles injury and then a knee injury where was it James Sands comes in and plows into you and doesn't even get a card. So you're coming off an Achilles and then you get rolled into no card and you get that. Yeah, likely better than Clement Diop and Q. But that, but that's the thing. And Wiley, to your point, I do think that it is hangover, and it's not just hangover from 1 year. It is. There will be, and this happens in all sports with all the folks that we follow and all the teams. If there is a moment or moments that stick with you, it is going to take heaven and earth being moved by a people mover, the size of Tulsa, Oklahoma to get you to change your mind. We hang on to memories. We hang on to events. We hang on to singular things. And that's what we link to. And it's like, oh, I don't like him because of X. And you're locked into that moment and you're locked into that idea. I think it takes a lot. Once you're locked into an idea about a particular individual, it's going to take a lot for you to change that thought pattern. And welcome, Bonnie. Welcome. I think this is one of the first time. It's either first time, long time, or first time period. Bonnie, welcome. And last line of defense should be comfortable knowing he can get it stopped. Dell says, I think a lot of fans felt like the team was just keeping Gazan around because of his experience and not because he was the best option. Alex, I'm going to let people read that on their own. Alex has a nickname for LFTM that is not large, fast, tall man. So Alex, next time I see you, I will tip my hat to you, sir. But I will let the Twitch pitch read your Stian Gregerson nickname. So it's like Gronk and crypto all of a sudden. You sound like Gronk. Crypto bad, not real money. Yeah, it did. So Dell has already acronymed what Alex has said. So yeah, we're using hashtags. Large, fast, tall man, I think, is where we'll stick with Stian Gregerson for the moment. LFTM is where we'll go with oh man, you guys crack me up sometimes. Alex, it is funny. I will not deny that your preference for Stian Gregerson's nickname is not funny, for a double negative that will drive my mother crazy. But I will let the Twitch pitch read and see which one that they prefer. Which acronym and or nickname for Stian Gregerson do you guys prefer? I prefer LFTM because I can actually say it. Large, fast, tall man. I don't know if I can get away with saying the hashtag NMS and not have it anything to do with a meteorological society. So I will leave that one to the Twitch pitch. Well done, though, by the way. I'm not, Derek. I am not denying, as we're rolling through the Twitch pitch here, that the acronym is hilarious. Oh, it was? Oh, wow. Well, so Alex, but no, Alex, you made it up when it applied to Stian Gregerson. But it says it was apparently a nickname for Erling Haaland. I mean, dude, you made it up. You made it up in applying it to Stian Gregerson. So, Bonnie wants to see more from Gazan. Hopefully, I look at goalies, I look at keepers like offensive linemen. Let them do their job. Let them be quiet about it. I don't want to see somebody making 8-9 saves and going all over the place and sending stuff over the bar. Let him have a solid day. Let him be a personality. Let him have a quiet day. Just let him be back there. Stop, Dell. Dell wants to know how long before Gazan gets hurt. Bite your tongue. That's the kind of stuff that we don't talk about. Well, yeah. If Stian Gregerson can get 4 goals in a match, let's name him now. So there you go. Yes. Yeah, I know. A goalie having a quiet day is optimal. And 4-card. So we talked about Charlotte Independence a little bit. Charlotte, like I said, you're looking at Austin Pack between the sticks. Don't get in a shootout with Austin Pack. Juan Carlos Obregon Jr. up top. Goals in his last 4 for Charlotte Independence. In League One right now, and like I said, and you can go back into our archive over at Spreaker. We caught up with Mike Jeffries on a couple of different occasions to this point of the season. Charlotte right now 3-1-1 in regular season play. I'm not looking at Jägermeister Cup, although that's just man. Shot of glory, League One, the Jägermeister Cup in League One. But Charlotte right now 3-1-1 in their first 5. They've won 3 of their first 4, 3 of their last 4. Lost their first match, and they're 3 wins out of their last 4 ever since. So Charlotte, a part of that log jam in second place, but they're behind in goal difference. Last time out, they beat Central Valley 3-1. Then before that, it was a goalless draw with Union Omaha, beat Greenville Triumph 1-0, and beat Spokane 2-1. So you're beating the teams that you're supposed to beat. You beat Spokane, you beat Central Valley. Then you beat Greenville by a goal. You had a goalless draw with Union Omaha, and One Knox gave you your first you're in the first match of the year. One Knox beat you 2-1. So I think you're beating who you're supposed to beat right now if you're Charlotte in League One. But I want to see, like I said, pack between the sticks, Obregon up top. That's what you're looking at with those two. Yeah, four card says better win tonight, fire everyone if we lose. Yeah, it will be a long day tomorrow. It will be a long day tomorrow here on the show on a Wall Pass Wednesday if the plus 800, is that what we saw? Plus 800 underdog was to do something. David, Brad's been good, needed time after his Achilles. Go watch the 5-minute preseason videos of Josh Cohen. Brad between the pipes may have more to do with leading the new defensive pairings as much as anything. David not sold on Cohen. I mean, it's just stylistics. And then, that's Brad, the polar bear back there. The polar bear back there, he's going to let you know what's going on. And I think, to your point, David, I think that when you have new defensive pairings, and I think that when you have younger players back there, well, like Noah and Ephra, with Noah and Ephra back there, I think that if you are Brad and you are, hey, Noah, do this. If you're constantly counseling, if you're sitting there, it's like, okay, I need you here, do this. Ephra, do this, support here, I need you here. That kind of guidance is great. That kind of guidance you definitely need, when you don't have Steon Gregerson and you don't have Noah Cobb or you don't have Derek Williams. So when you don't have that experience back there and you have someone between the sticks like Brad, who's going to let you know what you need to do, where you need to be, how you feel, how he feels in any given moment. Yeah, Bonnie, he did. And Alex doing the morning, Walter. Glad you're with us as well. So Alex has posted the video with Holland being identified through the hashtag that has been floated through the Twitch pitch. Yeah, Bonnie Cohen had a good week last week with the twos. He did. And also he did very, very well in the shootout. And that's how MLS Next Pro matches end. They don't do if it's a draw after 90 minutes, they go straight to the shootout. You get a point in MLS Next Pro if you get through 90 minutes and it's a draw. It was a goalless draw with Atlanta United and Atlanta United 2 and NYCFC 2 on Friday night. You can go back and listen to that match on our Soccer Down Here platform. Soccer Down Here and the number 2.mixler.com. That's how busy we were on Friday night, is that we unveiled the second channel. But you can go back and listen to Cohen between the sticks for Atlanta United 2. Jason was on the call for that one while Maddie and I were doing North Atlanta and River Ridge. But he did very well, and he did very well in a shootout. 2 saves in the shootout, I think. They went through 4 frames. And so Josh had a good week with Atlanta United too. And like I said, I think that with Austin Pack and with Josh Cohen, if it ends up going to a shootout, we might be there for a while. But he's had good work. But like I said, Brad right now, back there at the back, vocal. Young guys coming in because of injuries and things like that, having that kind of a voice back there, I think has been crucial. So, hey, well, Derek, we're getting there. Derek's like SDH8, the Ocho. See, that's a mouthful. SDH8. But yeah, SDH2. What did we say? We said dues, I believe was what the suggestion was. So we have SDH, soccerdownhere.mixler.com. And then we have SDH and the number 2, Soccer Down Here at and soccer. It's banners, John. Soccerdownhere.mixler.com. And then you've got the second channel. And the other idea there, once again, we're going to be in more than one place at one time sometimes. And Friday was one of those examples, where we had the high school game here and the twos were here. So what you can do, if we're in more than one place at one time, you can have one device dialed up to the mothership and you can have one device dialed up here. So you can do it one of two ways. You can go on the web, and you can go to that web address, soccerdownhere.mixler.com, and you can just plug it into your computer, set your notifications, follow Soccer Down Here. When something happens, you can dial it up on your laptop. Or what you can do is you can download the Mixler app on your phone. Let me grab that real quick just to show you what can and can't be done. Even I can download an app. So what you do is you download Mixler. I'm trying to shield it from the light. So for those watching on the video side of things, you download the Mixler app, MIXLR, and you can sit there and go, all right, so Soccer Down Here, I will favorite that, and I will follow that. And so you can do that, and you do the same thing for Soccer Down Here too. So you can do it on your phone and on your mobile device, and you can do it a bunch of different ways. But you can do it on a laptop, and you can do it on an app on your phone. So, but yeah, we are to the point now where sometimes during the season, we got to be in more than one place at once. And so we've unveiled the second channel. And we couldn't have done it without you guys. We legitimately could not have done it without you. All the faith that you've given us over time that's there. Dues. Yes, 4-card. The Dues. So, Alex, get Troy Hawk to Greek players. Yes, any means necessary. Yes, superposition down here, there, and everywhere. Exactly. I can type it. Don't have a cable to plug. Thank you. Yes, 4-card. Thank you. But yeah, just type it in in your URLs, and you can listen to either network in either place. Right there is the mothership, and right there is the second channel. Obviously, we'll let you know when things are on the second channel, but soccerdownhere.mixler.com, that's the primary for those of you that are just typing URLs. Soccer Down Here, and the number 2 is when we have to be in more than one place at one time. So, but that's the fun part of all of this, that we have absolutely gone to the point to where we need to have a second channel. And it's been great to be able to do that kind of stuff. And like I said, Bonnie, we talked about it yesterday, but I mean, and what I would recommend, because what we do on Mondays is, what I try to do on Monday is I want everybody to get what's on their chest off their chest. And we had a 2-hour discussion about the team, about Gonzalo, about the end of his contract at the end of this season. And what we tried to do is open up as many doors as possible to give everyone as much to think about as possible. And, there were a boatload of different viewpoints yesterday. And what we tried to do is go to as many different possible ideas, thoughts, angles, whatever words you want to use when it comes to this particular team. And when it comes to Gonzalo, I know that the expectation coming into the year was that this team was going to be, home playoff game, which would mean a 4 seed. And I know that with Atlanta losing 2 home matches in a row for the first time in 3 years, and with everything that has not gone on this season, I know that there's a lot of concern, and that's the word that I'll use. I mean, there's, there are fans that are pissed, but there's a lot of different things that are going on in folks' minds. I will admit that I am looking at it as the 1/3 part of the season. Like I said, you've got a match in hand. You win that match in hand, you're 5th. And I know that a lot of folks are looking at all the other things that are there, that are attached to it. So we're not afraid to talk about things. Like I said, Bonnie, we talked about it for 2 hours yesterday, and if there's anything on your mind that needs to be addressed, that's what we're here for. Literally, it is Monday and Tuesday as we kind of slide into the rest of the week and get everybody ready for the weekend. Monday and Tuesday is where I want to get folks to get things off their chest. Literally, it is the doctor is in, like the old Peanuts bit with Lucy, where she's at her. The doctor is in, she's at her table, and Charlie Brown comes in and drops the nickel, and Lucy sits there and shakes the nickel and talks about how great it is to hear the sound of cash, that kind of a thing. So I want Monday and Tuesday, I want folks to get as much off their chest as possible, because I don't want it to hang inside of folks. I would rather folks get everything out of their system on Monday and Tuesday so we can get ready for match week when Tyler shows up here at 9:15 on Wednesday morning. Tomorrow with Tyler, we're obviously going to be talking about Open Cup. Dylan Butler drops in. We're going to talk about Major League Soccer. Thursday, it's going to be Nico at 10:30. I don't know if Jason's going to join us on Thursday or Friday. Jason's kind of been drifting into Fridays. So it's Monday and Tuesday. I want everybody to get stuff off their chest. So, Bonnie, if there's anything that's still on your chest about Gonzalo Pineda, get it off your chest. I don't want you to hang on to it. And, Kefsey, to your point, yesterday Gonzalo had his first opportunity with the media. Kefsey says, Pineda was really clear. Fans should be unhappy with the results because that means that you're vested and you care. Sidebar. Pineda said he too is, even if we're not seeing it. And that's the thing. And he says that myself included, he can stand to be more visibly animated. I think, Kefsey, what you see is you have a man who is vested. You have a man who cares. But there are things that need to be talked about, and when you talk about them, you do it behind closed doors because you don't want to. And I mean, there are managers in all the sports that we follow. There are head coaches that, just as an example off the top of my head, Nick Saban. Nick Saban on a game day is going to rant and rave and spike his headset and mess up his hair and have a fit because that's how he's wired. Gonzalo is going to stick up for his players. But what we don't see are the discussions that happen behind closed doors. And so I don't think, and Kefsey understands the locker room. Kefsey means from the sidelines. Alex is like, Gonzalo needs to start talking about rat poison. Kefsey says, I mean, from the sidelines. Yeah, and in his pressers. Yes, Alex. But, Kefsey, to your point, yeah, it doesn't do anything to be angry and oppressor. But, sometimes folks aren't wired to be, angry on the side. But there are times where I will, and this is me being, in a press box at Mercedes-Benz and seeing, looking at Gonzalo in a bit of a spot shadow. There are times, and you don't get to see it on television a whole lot. There are times when Gonzalo is letting the fourth have it. There are times, remember all these times that Gonzalo's gotten yellow cards? Gonzalo Pineda has gotten yellow cards. There have been times where he's had to sit out of matches because he's been yellow card accumulation. So Gonzalo lets people have it. But it's not in his DNA to let people have it over and over and over and over again on the sidelines. He picks his spots with the officials. He picks his spots with the fourth. He sticks up for his players out there on the field. So he's the kind of guy, because, he's played. So he knows what it's like. And so I don't think he's not going to publicly dress down a player in a match day. In a match game situation, he's not going to do that. He'll talk to you behind closed doors, because that's a conversation to be had between a manager and a player in the locker room. He will let you know what he's thinking. He will let you know what he'd like for you to do publicly. But I'm fairly certain that there are conversations that are had. There are times when Gonzalo is past the 10 minutes. because you have that mandatory 10-minute cool down period. There are times where Gonzalo has been past the 10 minutes. So, it is stuff that can be addressed, but he sticks up for his players. He sticks up for his players all day long and twice on Tuesdays out there on the field. He will let officials have it because he wants what's best for his team. Bonnie says, not sure he can get it done, meaning Penny. I saw tension with him and Gigi. Well, I mean, and I think Gigi's just as equally frustrated. I mean, you had that shot off the crossbar late from Gigi because Gigi is a leader on this team. And I think that once again, the shot late on the crossbar, missing a couple of opportunities. Saba had a chance that was missed, being clinical, all those kinds of things. And also, I would, if you saw tension, just remember game state too. I don't think it's something that carries over. I think that if the players for Atlanta United did not believe in what they were doing on a daily basis, in matches where they fall behind, you would see an entirely different presentation from them. It'd be like, okay, well, we're down 2-0. We're not going to fight. And I think that also speaks to you guys, the 17s. Because if you guys didn't show that you cared, then the players would be, that the players would not be as invested if they didn't see that you were as invested. They are invested. You are invested. They care about what's going on. They care about each other. You care about what's going on. You care about each other. So I think that there's also, heat of the battle stuff too. So if you see if you see tension, there's also, heat of the day stuff. But I think that if they didn't believe in what they were doing, you would see different results on the field. No, and tension, as Derek says, tension isn't necessarily bad. No tension or apathy would be way more worrisome, and that is 100% correct. If you saw them just kind of going, we're trailing, I don't know, that would be more worrisome for me. The fact that they're vested, the fact that they continue to fight, the fact that you're seeing these late goals, that you see something happen. I know, yes, that they were down at the time, but the fact that they're continuing to chase and chase and chase, and they score with 10 minutes to go, and you guys feed them. Saba gets that goal, and now that the press box is open, it's open air, we get a different vibe. I can sense, and you guys, I know, obviously, as 17s, I know that you can. But when, say, Saba scored in the 80th minute, there's a different vibe. It's a different sense of energy. I mean, literally, you feel everything lift in those kinds of moments. And it's cool for me to be in a place where I can see it happening. I will. Kefsi, yes. Yes. Yeah, we will discuss Matty Cruz and the 1s and 2s coming up in just a little bit. But I think that to Derek's point here about no tension or apathy, I think that would mean a different vibe in the locker room. When Saba scored and the 17s, that energy just absolutely lifts. I mean, for me, it's a cool thing to sense because you can feel that wave that you guys are presenting and pushing forward, and that gives them the onus and the operation of wanting to continue to push forward, those kinds of things. To Derek's point, if they were just kicking about, if it was tension, if there was apathy, it's just kind of like, I don't know, it'd be a different vibe. But they want to push forward with you. They want to push forward for you. You guys want them to push forward. It's all a part of the collective there. So, having tension and disagreements in game state, not a, that's I perfectly fine with that. Okay, so David has asked a real question. The show has been on cruise control for months. If Maddie is graduating, is she fired as an intern and are we losing her? Please say no. David, Maddie has golden ticket status once she graduates. She is here for as long as she wants to be here. Trust me, we ain't kicking her out. But as I was saying earlier in the show, it was humbling that in her, and like I said, follow Maddie on social media at Madison Cruise 7. If you haven't had the chance to see her senior graduation photos from Kennesaw State, and by the way, for those of you who are going to the fraction tonight, Maddie will be out in the audience. She will be there. I mean, she'll be like live tweeting and stuff, but she'll be there. So if you see her, congratulate her on graduating and give her a big old hug, because she has busted her ass in this internship with us. Literally, there were her instructors, by the way. Her instructors were concerned early on that she was not going to be putting in the necessary hours or accumulating the hours that she needed to fulfill the internship. And she told them, she's like, no, wait. It's going to happen. Maddie has kicked some serious ass here. That is not in dispute. So Maddie is here as long as she wants to be here. That is the easiest thing on the board. Maddie loved it here as an intern. Maddie loves it here, period. And so when she integrated the SDH scarf, which, by the way, you can pick up for $25 because I still have some here. When she integrated the SDH scarf into in some of her graduation photos, like I said, it was a very humbling moment for May to see how much we mean to her and what she has been able to do. It's been fantastic to see her grow as a talent. It's been really cool to see her add dimensions of thought and content that we haven't had the opportunity to have. And so, yeah, she's graduating on Thursday, but we will have her here as long as she wants to be here. Obviously, we need to win the lottery so we can all get paid and so we can all pay each other what we feel we're worth so we can keep Maddie around. But yeah, to everyone's credit, and thank you for opening up your arms as well for her and to her. But yeah, she'll be at the fraction tonight. She'll be out mingling out in the concourse and everything. So give her a big old hug when you see her. And yeah, we could not be more proud. Absolutely could not be more proud of what we've seen from Maddie. With her being here, wanting to be a part of things. Absolutely fantastic. And Hutch, yeah, Cruise Control would be a good show name. But yeah, so whatever Maddie wants to do, Maddie can do. We're not going to turn down her content. That absolutely not. Turn down that kind of an imagination and genius and talent? No, not happening. And four-card, yeah, you can't fire somebody who is getting paid. So, Alex, for anyone going tonight, find Alex in the supporter section, strategically placed outside of the beer splash zone. Hopefully true. Kefsey may find you and beer you. Exactly. Yes. So I will triple her rate. Absolutely. But see now, David, that'd be pretty funny if the Twitch pitch sent student/intern evals to her professors. That'd be great. If you guys could do that, that would be hilarious. I don't know how much impact it would have. I mean, Jason, I think, was the one who was ultimately in charge of giving the final scores for Maddie. But no, Maddie is, Maddie, David says she's been great and mature beyond her years. Problem is that she's the most mature individual of us all here. Absolutely. Yes. Nine Stripes, Alex, in the hopes of rekindling cupical magic. Yes, cupical. Alex, a pleasure in class. Yes, absolutely true. Four Card wishes the fraction was closer to Lilburn. Should have gone to Coolray. Well, they were at Coolray. The twos were at Coolray when they started. So when Jason and I started calling Atlanta United 2 matches in season 1, they were at Coolray. They went up the left field foul line. The goals were up against the left field wall and on the first baseline, right in front of the dugout. That's where they were. So it was an adventure. And I also found out that I needed glasses when they were at Coolray because of the camera positions and not seeing numbers. So, but no, it was, like I said, Maddie's graduating Thursday. You'll see her at the fraction tonight. I'll be at the fraction tonight. I will have Marshall Island scarves in tow, those kinds of things. So it's been, it's been an absolute joy having her as an intern. But yeah, she can hang here as long as she damn well wants. I don't know how else to say it. She can hang as long as she damn well wants. Let's see. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo before we go. Once again, remember, top of the noon Eastern. It is Soccer's in Session Live presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. We'll go through the high school action. It starts this afternoon. 5 and 7:30 is when it starts. You can watch on the NFHS network. You can get a day pass, but I would suggest get maybe the 30-day and then at like day 28 or maybe on Saturday or Sunday. Then you sit there and it's like, nope, we're done after 1 month. 5 and 7:30, NFHS network. Aquinas Lake Oconee Academy and Atkinson County and GMC. Caught up with head coach Bobby Jaworski yesterday for GMC. So those are going to be at Mercer at 5-star, 5 and 7:30, Class A D2 girls and boys. Class A D1 girls and boys, Paidea's going for the double at McEachern. They're playing Social Circle at 5 on the girls' side, playing Atlanta International on the boys' side at 7:30. Noon Eastern, Soccer is in Session Live, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. What we will have on the show today, Mateen Ziba and Luke Winstall. They're gonna be some of the voices that you'll hear over the finals week. We'll get their thoughts about what's going on. It'll be great to catch up with Dream. It's been far too long. And Luke, last time we caught up with Luke, I think was with Women's World Cups out in the Southern Hemisphere. You will also get to hear from Coach Ray Torres from Columbus. And you'll also get to catch up with Coach Ben Grassmeyer from North Oconee the day before their matchups as well. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to catch up with coaches the day before, unless they want to catch up the day of to break up the monotony. So 2 of the voices calling stuff this week, 2 of the coaches are playing in championship games. So it'll be Ray Torres from Columbus, Ben Grassmeyer from North Oconee, and it will be Mateen Ziba, and it will be Luke Winstall. So Mateen, Luke, Coach Torres, Coach Grassmeyer. That's the show for today, coming up at noon Eastern, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. It is Kaiser Permanente for all that is you. Before we go, yes, Hutch, I was going to talk about that. You're right there with me. So what I'm going to do before we get out of here, and before we talk about what to watch, where to watch it, in the world of the pros, we'll go here. Tommy Scoops, Tom Bogert. CF Montreal Chief Soccer Officer Olivier Renard is out. First reported by Tony Marinero. Sources say friction between Renard and owner Joey Saputo. Now Renard is gone. Hey! Friction between Joey Saputo and someone in his front office. Who knew? I'm shocked, nay, stunned. Tony Marinero first reported it. Sources describe the relationship between Renard and owner Joey Saputo as tense for some time. Renard had been at the club since 2019. During his tenure, hired Thierry Henry, then gave Wilfred Nancy his first head coaching gig. CF Montreal had a down year in 2023, but it bounced back in 24 under Laurent Courtois. Executive oversaw acquisitions and then sales of Georgi Mihailovic and Alistair Johnson, as well as homegrown product Ismail Kone. So you got that. So who knew? Who knew? Who absolutely knew? Thiago Silva is going back to Fluminense. Once again, completely and totally, who knew that was going to happen? Get this. School day north of the border. You have Voyageur Cup starting right now. So if you can find a way to watch the Voyageur Cup, you can do that. You get 11 o'clock soccer on the East Coast. Might be on FS2. That wouldn't be too bad. So let's see. Soccer on TV. We'll get into that. So, yeah, Renard out at CF Montreal because of a disagreement with Joey Saputo. Who knew? Who knew that kind of stuff happens? 7 games, Open Cup once again, USsoccer.com, USL, I think it's USLsoccer.com. All right, so BN en Español, Copa Libertadores, triple header. You can go to Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. You can subscribe to Fanatis, be a true degenerate, all the BNs, Liga One Max, Teise, For the Fans, Nuestra Tele, Gold TV, all of those. You can get it at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Triple header Copa Libertadores tonight. Rosario Central, Atletico Mineiro, Nacional and River Plate Universitario, and Junior, 6, 8, and 10. Champions League today, PSG Borussia Dortmund, that's at 3 o'clock. TUDN Univision, Paramount Plus. League One promotion playoffs, Bolton and Barnsley is at 3. And remember the matchup from yesterday involving the team that left Wimbledon and their opponent is supposed to be set for today. Hopefully the grass surface has no longer been flooded out. And so that's supposed to be going on today as well, since it didn't happen yesterday. USsoccer.com has the Open Cup, so you can go to USsoccer.com, catch all 7 matchups there, MLSsoccer.com, USLsoccer.com as well. Yeah. Did someone upend a table? Exactly. Let's see. Now I'll get to gossip, rumor, and innuendo here coming up in just a sec. Alex, what did you send us before we're out of here for today? Chelsea legend Diego Costa has rescued 50 to 100 people from floods in Brazil, courtesy of our friends at World Soccer Talk, using a jet ski and his truck to take people to safety. Very, very cool. Nicely done, Diego Costa. He was probably angry at Mother Nature and decided to take it out with his jet ski and all of those. So Lorenzo Hernandez, by the way, is tonight's Open Cup ref. There is no VAR. Hernandez, according to Mike, replacement ref for some early season matchups in Major League Soccer, usually works USL Championship. So Lorenzo Hernandez is the man in the middle tonight for your Open Cupness. And so once again, remember, it is 7:30 with Atlanta United and Charlotte Independence, 92-9 the game. And so there'll be your fair amount of discussion ahead of time that will be breaking down all of the action, getting ready for Atlanta United and Charlotte Independence across the board. So Liam Rossignol was sacked by Hull after missing out on the championship playoffs. Just days after the season was over, they just missed out on the playoffs, finished in 7th place, lost on the final day to Plymouth, 3 points behind 6th place Norwich, who were also beaten on the final day of the campaign. Nominated for Championship Manager of the Season, obviously missing out to Ipswich's Kieran McKenna. But, Liam Rossignol got booted as the head coach at Hull because he didn't make the playoffs. Once again, color me shocked. So, you got all that stuff. So I think, gossip, rumor, and innuendo. I promised you gossip, rumor, and innuendo before we go. So that'll be the last thing before we get ready for Soccer's in Session Live, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente at the top of the hour. So today's gossip: Jadon Sancho does not want to return to Manchester United at the end of his loan spell at Borussia Dortmund. Darwin Nunez has fueled speculation of a summer exit from Liverpool by deleting all images of his time at Anfield from his Instagram page, courtesy of our friends at 90 Minutes. Inter Milan willing to listen to offers for Denzel Dumfries, keen to join Manchester United. Chelsea stepped up their interest in Shakhtar's £65 million rated Ukrainian midfielder Georgi Sudakov, who's also being monitored by Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. 4-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Chelsea want to sign Victor Osimhen, who has a release clause of more than £100 million. Roma want to sign Romelu Lukaku on a permanent, and Chelsea's willing to sell. It's also attracting interest from Saudi Arabia. £38 million is the number, according to Fabrizio Romano. Atletico Madrid keeper Jan Oblak is another player who's on Chelsea's radar. Spanish club keen to raise funds for a squad rebuild. Newcastle set to rekindle their interest in Michael Olise, valued at £60 million by Crystal Palace. Manchester United was also interested in him, considering what he did to them yesterday. Spurs and West Ham frontrunners to sign Ivan Toney. Both teams planning to offer about £50 million. Victor Gyökeres has refused to commit to his future at Sporting Lisbon amid interest from Arsenal. Arne Slot could return to Feyenoord to re-sign Mats Wiefer, midfielder and defender Lucharel Geertruida, Football Insider. Sevilla among a number of clubs monitoring Enzo Maresca after he took the Foxes back to the Premier League. 4-letter paper. Manchester United trying to find a buyer for Casemiro this summer in an attempt to cut their wage bill. Sure. And, yes, so the non-loaf Belgian is a menace and a pleasure to watch. Well done, Kessie. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. What else did I have? Looks like, who was it? Stefan Kuntz, according to Florian Plettenberg. Stefan Kuntz is in the running to be the head of the Canadian men's national team. And so keep an eye at Plettigol is Florian Plettenberg from Sky Germany. And so that's what he was looking at. So we'll see if Canada can offer Kuntz what he thinks he needs financially to make sure that he can run a club that doesn't really seem to have a whole lot of money to run things financially. So there you go. All right, that'll do it. No, you have not fired Ten Hag yet, although it appears that Graham Potter is being stared at as a possible replacement, according to our friends at Talk Sport. No, Ten Hag has not yet been fired. I'm still waiting for Drew and his 3D recap, especially after what happened yesterday. He had to have his car towed, and Manchester United got thumped by Crystal Palace. So that one probably is going to earn us the explicit rating when it comes to, all of that. So busy day for Drew yesterday, and so that's why he wasn't on at 10:30, because he was waiting for a record. Once again, noon Eastern, soccer's in session presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Two of the voices calling the matches this week. Two of the coaches playing with their teams, playing for state championships in the GHSA. Once again, brought to us by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Kaiser Permanente, for all that is you. Glad we were here for a Tuesday. Busy day across the board. It is high school soccer championships. It is Atlanta United in Open Cup taking on Charlotte Independence. We'll talk about all of it tomorrow. If you see Maddie at the Fraction, give her a high and hearty handshake, give her a high five, give her a hug. She deserves it. And if you're not following Maddie on social media, please do so at Madison Cruise 7. I believe that is universal on both the 280-character app and on the gram. So, yes, KFC, we'll see y'all in a few hours. Looking forward to it. I'm bringing Marshall Island scarves with me. So if anybody wants them, you can pick them up there, because I will bring them with my person. I'm dropping 4 off for Joe, and he's picking them up. But I'm going to bring more just because I can. So for everybody here at SDH, thanks for dropping by for Tuesday Thoughts. Tomorrow, we'll talk about Open Cup. Tyler Pilgrim joining us at 9:15. We'll see if Dylan Butler can join us there as well. Thanks a lot, y'all. Play it safe, and we'll see you at top of the hour for high school, and we'll see you tonight at the Fraction for Open Cup. Mucha plata, y'all. Play it safe, and all the cool stuff. We couldn't do this without you. It's the end of the show. That means I get to do this. See you in a little bit.